Good morning. It's great to see all of you today on site, on Zoom, on YouTube. Thanks for being here. I'm Jocelyn, OUUC Media Specialist. I use Z0 pronouns. This Zoom service is being recorded. It's streaming live to YouTube. For those of you on site at OUUC today, please turn the sound off on any of your devices or just turn those off altogether. And also note you can see the subtitles for this service and view the chat during the Sharing from the Heart portion of the service on the screen at the front of the room. For those of you online, I hope you'll find a candle or a chalice, and in a moment we will light them together. Thank you all for your grace and adaptability. As we all remember, it's about connection, not perfection.
Good morning. Let's sing a morning song together, hymn number 163 out of the gray hymnal, For the Earth Forever Turning. And if you're online, you can find the lyrics posted in the chat as well. I invite you to rise in both body and or spirit, and let's sing together.
Good morning. Welcome to the Olympia Unitarian Universalist Congregation Worship Service. We welcome each of you to this celebration of love and to this congregation. The OUUC community comes together in the mutual promises of our covenant. We envision an interconnected world that is loving, just, and healthy. We commit to live out our mission, to welcome and wonder, to embrace and empower, to bridge and become. We're so glad that you are here. My name is Alicia Seegers Martinelli. I use she, her pronouns, and I am a member of the worship arts team. Leading worship with me today is Troy Fisher, our music director, and Riley Ulrich. Riley is a social work and ministry student who lives here in Olympia and is a member of our congregation. She currently works at the Interfaith Works homeless shelter as a social work intern while attending Louisiana State University for her degree. She has completed part of the Masters of Divinity at Star King and is a candidate for UU ordination. Riley's career focus is on chaplaincy, and she is currently enjoying her work in homeless services and remains curious about where her call to ministry will lead her next. We are grateful for the many hands that helped make worship happen this morning. Thank you to the ushers and greeters, the breakout room hosts, the tech team members, the youth staffing the nursery, eager for your little ones to reemerge. After the service, everyone will have the chance to discuss reflection questions offered by Riley. For those online, we invite you to go into a breakout room for a virtual coffee chat. Today's hosts are members of the Environmental Action Team. They will help welcome everyone to the discussion. For those in person, please feel free to bring the reflection questions into your discussions in the Commons. These are printed in the order of service. We hope you will enjoy the discussion wherever you are. Plan to stay after the service today for a conversation with the OUUC Board of Trustees about our future. You can return to the Zoom room or the sanctuary at 11:30. We will celebrate the life of Evelyn Greenberg this coming Friday at 1 p.m. The service will be in person at OUUC and online. You can find more information in the Tuesday update and on the website. Plan to join the festivities next Sunday, May 1, when we'll have the chance to help prepare for OUUC's 70th anniversary celebration and the installation of Reverend Mary on June 4. Right after the service, we'll gather in person on Zoom for reflection about the installation of our settled and what our settled minister means to us. Then, from 2 to 4, we'll gather at OUUC to assemble flags and other mementos, including brief videos that express our hopes and our dreams for OUUC's future. These items will be displayed at the installation and the anniversary celebration in June, and will be added to the contents of an OUUC time capsule for 2032. There will be music and refreshments. Check out the announcements in the weekly update for more information. Our 2022 fundraiser auction is fast approaching, and we need everyone's participation to make this a success. So let's create the best ever auction catalog. As of today, there are 8 more days to add your unique donations to the list. Please check Tuesday's e-blast for a link to the auction website for contribution ideas and to see the growing trove of offerings. Need help? Contact Melanie Ransom, and we can brainstorm with you to enter, and we can also assist in entering items into the system on your behalf. The deadline for auction donations is Sunday, May 1. We will build a new way better together. As you can see, there are many ways to be involved and to stay connected to our community. Please check the website regularly. If you have questions or if you need help, please check in with a member of the staff. Now, let us open our hearts and our minds as we prepare for worship. Welcome, everyone. It is good to be together. This morning, and every Sunday morning, we join Unitarian Universalists around the world in lighting a chalice, the symbol of our faith tradition. Please join me as we light our chalices together with these words adapted from Michael de Vernon Boblet. We are not alone. We are the flame, ancient as the stars, new as the vulnerable spark. We are not alone. We are this chalice, rimmed by the spiral dance of searching. We are not alone. We are the light soaring, the shadow deepening, the dance between them. We are not alone. We are here. We are here for ourselves. We are here for each other, and we are not alone.
Good morning again. My name is Riley, and I use they, them, and she, her pronouns. Later this morning, you'll hear more about my personal relationship with the earth. So as an opening, I'd like to lead us in a grounding. So wherever you are in this room or joining us virtually, I invite you to notice where your focus is now and let it land, if it would, someplace in your body. It may feel good to soften your gaze or close your eyes. Perhaps you notice your breath. Let your focus land in your body and invite wherever that point of focus is to drift down, relaxing into gravity, responding to that welcoming pull of the earth. Let your focus find its way down towards your feet and reaching beyond your feet, notice what is below you. Perhaps traveling through pavement or flooring, or perhaps through the soil, reaching down into the earth. Let your breath guide you. Feel the gravity that is always present through your seat and through your feet, letting whatever came with you this morning that needs some rest to relax off of you into the earth. Take a big breath here. And this earth right now in this season is not just a quiet place. There is much growing, there is much rising, there is much new life. So if you would be fed by some of that energy, notice it in the earth. And on your breath, breathe in some of the springtime energy of this earth. Feeling that connection and that exchange, knowing that that will continue to be present through you throughout this service and beyond. Invite your focus back up, noticing your feet and your seat pressing down on the floor or your chair. Letting your focus rise up to whatever feels like an alert and ready to sing a song next place. And just easing back into this moment, remembering the presence of the earth here with your body, listening with your body. Welcome to this present moment. Welcome to our worship together.
And let's do Sing Together again. Hymn number 1068, Rising Green. I invite you to rise in body and or spirit. If you're online, you can find the words posted in the chat, Rising Green. My blood doth rise in the roots of yon oak, her sap doth run in my vein, boundless my soul like the open sky,
songs and measures of old, that of love's eternity, that of love, that of love, that of love's eternity. I feel the tides as they answer the moon, rushing on a far distant sand. Winging my song is the wind of my breast, and love blows over the land. And my love, and my love, and my love blows over the land. My foot carries days of old into new. Our dreaming shows us the way. Wondrous our faith settles deep in the earth, rising green to bring a new day. Rising green, rising green, rising green to bring a new day.
Thank you for singing. Please be seated.
Our story for this morning's worship was selected and recorded in collaboration with OUUC's own Environmental Action Team. This story is adapted from Luis and Micah from the Tapestry of Faith Miracles curriculum. The recording has a slight audio problem at the beginning of the story, but it does pick back up again, so please pardon the momentary fuzziness.
Member of the OUUC Environmental Action Team. This morning I have a story for you. It's called Luis and Mika the Polar Bear. It goes like this. Luis lived in the Arctic Circle with his parents, who were researching the effects of global warming. Luis wondered about that. As Luis went for a walk, it didn't seem there was much global warming going on today. Luis was cold, bundled up in a snowsuit, mittens, hat, and boots. Luis came across a small polar bear named Mika. Mika looked very sad. So Luis went over and asked, "Why are you so sad?" "I'm sad because my habitat is shrinking." "What is a habitat?" "Why, your habitat is where you live. The Arctic is my habitat. It's everything you see around. The ice, the sea, and the glaciers. It has food, shelter, and everything I need to live a healthy life for polar bear families." "Why is it shrinking?" "Well, my habitat needs to be cold. I like it that way, and so do the fish and seals I eat. But the climate around here is getting warmer." "I actually think it's plenty cold here, but my parents are studying global warming. Take it from me, our winters are not what they used to be. Winters are shorter now. Ice melts faster than it ever did before. That means that polar bears like me are running out of places cold enough to eat, live, hunt, and raise our cubs. We don't have anywhere to live. We may vanish from the earth forever, and mine is not the only habitat that's in trouble. Oceans are warming up, wild forest lands are getting smaller. Many species are threatened because of their world is changing so rapidly." "That's awful. What is causing global warming?" "The earth is warming up because of the way humans have used it. People are cutting down rainforests and drilling deep into the earth to get coal, gas, and oil to burn. And no offense, but everyday things you do at home can contribute to global warming. Those hurt me, my environment, and even the whole planet." "Things I do? Like what? I'm just a kid, Mika." "When you ask your parents to drive you in a gas-powered car to a nearby store, or leave lights on in your house when you do not need them. Everyday things like that, like having the heat up too high or the air conditioning too low, taking long showers, and leaving computers and phone chargers plugged in on standby instead of shutting them off. All those things mean more fuels are burned needlessly. creating a warmer global environment. I had no idea. Yes, humans are just starting to understand the impact they have had on creatures' habitats. Really? I want to help too. What can I do? You can recycle everything from plastics and paper to clothes that have gotten too small and electronics you don't play with anymore. Take them to someone who can use them, or make new things from your old stuff. And don't buy so much stuff. Polar bears use the earth the way that fits right in with the other species that share their habitat. For example, I always swim or walk or float on an iceberg to get where I'm going. But humans use their cars and airplanes too much. If you can walk, bike, or skate where you are going, that can help. Buy food that's grown or made near where you live and doesn't have to ride in your town in a truck or a train. And that uses a lot of fuel. Remember, we are all connected in the interdependent web of life. Gosh, Mika, I'm sure glad I ran into you. I learned a lot about global warming and climate change. I'm going to find my parents and tell them all I've learned. Well, that's great, Mika. Take care. Goodbye. Bye.
We came together in community this morning, bringing all that is in our lives. In this space, we draw on the strength of our community to hold all that we bring here with us together. In this space, we share from our hearts what brings us joy and sorrow, what brings us worry and delight, what makes us afraid, and what makes us dance. Let us open our hearts to the complexity of this life, ours and others. If you would like to send in something to share, please look for the link on the online worship page on the OUUC website, and we'll bring it into the service next week. You will hear a drum beat as we share today. It brings into our awareness that our individual heart beats together, and we create the heartbeat of our community. Right now, I invite you to take a deep breath as we open our hearts to receive the complexities of all that is in our lives and our community today. Joyce Steckler asks for our love, prayers, and support for her son Rick, who is in Romania with a nonprofit organization called Vital Solutions. They are helping Ukrainians in relief projects in any way, shape, or form that they can. Bless them all on this journey. I invite those of you online to share from your heart by entering in the chat on your screen. This is time to share all that you wish, joys and sorrows, and whatever else is shared from your heart. As we take in what is posted, let us hear the heartbeat of our community and reach out in love and care to all of those who share. For those in person today, I invite you to come forward and share something you hold with this community. Please come forward through the center aisle and then return to your seats by the side aisles. You may place a stone in the water as you share from your heart. Please come forward. place a stone in the water for all that has been shared from the heart, a stone holding the complexity of our lives, held in the water of community. And we will place one more stone in the water for all in our hearts that remains unspoken.
I invite you now to a time of prayer and reflection, turning in your mind towards whatever gives you solace and strength. I pray that we each find the support we need to continue to show up with care and compassion in our daily lives. Living in a world that too often knows violence and injustice, I pray that we all find daily reminders of love and connection, that we feel connected to the web of life. I pray that those of us living without shelter or with inadequate resources find greater ease as we build better systems, run on the worth and dignity of all humans. I pray that the flowers and fresh leaves of spring invite our own tender imagination to unfurl and see new possibilities. And that in the unfurling, I pray that we find new ideas for the better systems that uphold the worth and dignity of all life on this one precious planet that we call home. Let us hold a moment of silence together.
I invite you to remain seated and sing together hymn number 309, Earth is Our Homeland. You can also find the lyrics posted in the chat. Our homeland, a song of stars, a grace wrought of the ages, an opal spun in space, dawns for blue hue, soft nighttime still, dark ocean's depth, smooth stone, gives sublime that hollow time. We sing, making deep thanksgiving known. Worthy is the
prayers and meditations deepen our gratitude for what we know as sacred in our lives and in our world. Each Sunday, we express our gratitude by joining together in service to our community and to something greater than ourselves. The offering collected here does two things. It supports the ongoing work of OUUC, which is also supported by our regular pledges. This offering supports, in addition, the offering supports an organization that serves our community in harmony with our Unitarian Universalist values. This month, our Share the Plate recipient is Olympia Mutual Aid Partners, or OLIMAP. They would like to share this message with us.
Hello, OUUC. My name is Ty Gundel, and I'm the Program Manager for Olympia Mutual Aid Partners, also known as OLIMAP. We are so glad and humbled to be a Share the Plate recipient this year. OLIMAP's mission is to support the right of all people to a safe and warm place to call home, in part by providing health, safety, and stability support to our neighbors who are surviving outdoors in camp communities. OLIMAP provides support to specific camp communities through Thurston County's Scattered Site Pilot Project. The purpose of the project is to pilot an alternative response to unsheltered homelessness that relies on connection to services through outreach-based case management and site support to address health and safety concerns, as well as community impacts. One of the greatest causes of trauma and crisis for those that we work with is lack of access to some of the most basic and essential of human needs, like shelter and warmth. OLIMAP intends to use Share the Plate funds to provide residents of scattered sites with access to essential survival and warming supplies like tents, tarps, sleeping bags, propane vouchers, and fire extinguishers. It may take years before we are able to end unsheltered homelessness in our community. However, there are steps that we can take now to ensure that no one in our community is without access to the most basic of shelter and warmth. While some of those steps may seem like Band-Aids, they are acts that uphold justice, equity, and compassion. Even more, providing support and shelter and warmth to people, regardless of the reason for their circumstances, is a means of practicing acceptance of one another, and also a means of demonstrating to our unhoused community members that their community believes in their inherent worth as human beings and in the value of their lives. We have no doubt that the support we will be able to provide with the help of Share the Plate will bring relief, safety, and stability to many members of our community in the coming years. Thank you again.
Please note that you can participate in the offering by making a donation online through the church website or by texting the number that appears on the screen. You can also mail in a check to OUUC or place your offering in one of the baskets. Our community partners continue to need our financial support. May the offering now be generously given as it is gratefully received. Thank you for your generous gifts. Our reading for today is The Tortoise and the Hare. A hare was making fun of the tortoise one day for being slow. "Do you ever get anywhere?" he asked with a mocking laugh. "Why, yes," replied the tortoise, "and I get there sooner than you think. I'll run you a race to prove it." The hare was much amused at the idea of running a race with Tortoise. But for the fun of things, he agreed. So the fox, who had consented to act as judge, marked the distance and started the runners off. The hare was soon far out of sight, and feeling his race with the tortoise was ridiculous, he lay down beside the race course to take a nap until the tortoise could catch up. The tortoise, meanwhile, kept going slowly but steadily, and after a time passed the place where the hare was sleeping. But the hare slept on very peacefully, and when at last he did wake up, the tortoise was near the goal. The hare now ran his swiftest, but could not overtake the tortoise in time, and the hare came in second in the race. Here ends our reading.
In my first term at grad school, I changed the page accidentally. In my first term at grad school, I ended up in a class about sampling spiritual practices. I spent part of this class practicing earthing. Some people do earthing by putting their bare feet on the ground. My version was laying down on the ground outside for a while, sometimes bundled in blankets on top of a tarp. What I learned from trying this practice was a firm reminder that despite being very active at the time in my earth-centered spiritual practice, that actually taking the time for direct physical contact with the earth contained a different kind of spiritual encounter. I was reminded how profound it is to be simple. In those times, while I lay on the ground, I was struck by what it is to feel held by the earth. I was in awe of how ready and available the sense of belonging was, and how there was no need for grandeur. The way I experienced belonging did not banish isolation or loneliness, but it gave me the resource I needed to face my loneliness. I was not expected to do anything during that time. I just lay there. Sometimes I felt restful, other times I felt bored, impatient, or scattered. But I lay there and noticed how everything softened when I slowed down and waited. Now, at this moment, it might seem appropriate if I simply praised the familiar moral of the story for the tortoise and the hare. Slow and steady wins the race. And while I do value that important message, I also think that there are other things to learn from this story. My personality is a little bit more like the hare. I get excited, I go fast and work hard, and then I take a break, or get distracted, or get impatient. Getting distracted doesn't mean that I always lose the race. Sometimes it means that I remember that everything does not need to be a competition. I remember to enjoy myself along the way, and to be a good team member. What the tortoise and the hare bring may make for an odd race, but each character has valuable skills that we can learn from. American culture generally rewards people for doing things quickly. We call it productivity. It is possible that the story of the tortoise and the hare has continued to be retold for centuries, because productivity mindset can make it hard to honor the real value of what tortoise does. So this story reminds us. When we honor the steadiness of slow and focused action, then we begin to create an atmosphere where we can actually enjoy the playfulness of excitement that the hare brings. The tortoise and the hare both have gifts, and they both cross the finish line, each having gone on their own journey. When we work in groups on long-term projects, we are tasked with finding ways to honor the tortoise in the hare in both ourselves and each other. Because last Friday was Earth Day, I want to consider how this shows up in the long-term work for vibrant ecosystems and climate justice. Earth Day was first celebrated in 1970 by an estimated 20 million participants across the country. Barry Commoner is a cellular biology professor later heralded as a founder of the modern environmental movement. On that single day, April 22nd, 1970, he spoke at Harvard, MIT, Rhode Island College, and Brown University, and this is long before the days of virtually attending an event. In a recording of one of those speeches, he opens with these words: "This planet is threatened with destruction, and we who live in it death. The heavens reek, the waters are foul, children die in infancy, and we and the world which is our home live on the brink of nuclear annihilation. We are in a crisis of survival." The tone of these words feel almost like a fire and brimstone sermon to me. Just like that style of preaching, these words are meant to shock us into awareness and motivate us into action. These words are powerful and can, for me personally, get me into a place where I feel I must act quickly. I can become like the hare, but not in a way that is creative or playful. Instead, I feel nervous about what will happen if I fail. I know that speeches and books that focus on the crisis have played a very important role in the environmental movement. While they often get people to start the race, these speeches don't always help folks stay engaged for the long term. Sometimes it's easier to go take a nap on the sidelines of the movement. So now, I want to add a different framework to this conversation for thinking about how we can stay in the race for environmental restoration over the long term. As some of you may recall, I'm not only a student minister, I'm also a social work student. And in my clinical studies, one subject I have enjoyed is attachment theory. This theory was put into words by psychoanalyst John Bowlby, and later key contributions came from developmental psychologist Mary Ainsworth. The extremely simplified premise of this theory is that formative experiences in early childhood shape the way we as humans turn toward or turn away from other humans. The theory teaches that those early experiences leave an impression that can persist for the remainder of an individual's life. Anyone who has met a baby knows that we humans are born before we're fully developed. In the first several years of life, children cannot function independently from a caregiver. Attachment theory teaches that a baby's ability to form bonds with a caregiver is what helps them to survive. Attachment theory has 4 general recognized attachment styles, which are secure, anxious, avoidant, and disorganized. Okay, now what I'm going to do next is to take a theory about human development and apply it to our relationship with the earth, so that we can think about how this shows up in the environmental movement. Where normal attachment theory is about a child's relationship with a human caregiver, we will expand that idea to our personal relationship to the earth, who, like a caregiver, provides what we need to live. This general idea of attachment to the earth is something I first heard from Tada Hazumi, who is a Japanese-Canadian philosopher, artist, and coach. As we take this philosophical concept and pair it with a clinical theory, I hope you will join me in the spirit of playfulness. I'm going to do a bit of movement as part of this exploration. If you want, you can move in your chair or play along in your mind, however it feels right to you to explore this idea. Or stand up and do silly things like I'm doing. So again, attachment theory proposes 4 main styles: avoidant, anxious, disorganized, and secure. Avoidant attachment is about assuming that my needs will not be met by the earth. I might as well not even try to connect because I don't expect the earth to care. If I was trying to avoid the earth, I might try and jump, but gravity makes it so hard to get away. So I would maybe try something different. I might realize that I cannot physically avoid the earth, and I might put most of my attention up into the parts of myself that are farthest away from the earth. I might dwell in my mind, in my head, or my imagination. Anxious attachment is about thinking it's my job to be there and to be ready when the earth is going to give me what I need. I need to be tracking the earth so that I know if today is going to be a good day or a bad day. If I was anxious about the earth, I might want to draw near. It's harder to move around if I have to stay focused downward. I might be nervous to look away from the earth for fear that they would become upset or something bad might happen. Our third style, disorganized attachment, is when this demonstration gets really goofy. It's a combined strategy, sometimes avoidant and other times anxious. If I was disorganized, I might get really tired. Sometimes I'm up and sometimes I'm down. Disorganized is like an aerobics class. I'm staying away, but I need to be close. I'm up, I'm down, I'm working hard. And the fourth strategy is secure attachment. Secure attachment is about having established trust in my relationship with the earth. If I feel secure in my connection with the earth, I would be able to feel a sense of connection, but my eyes would be up and looking out to face the world. I might find freedom of movement to sink down and rise up if I felt it was appropriate to do so. So, take it or leave it. That's my playful demonstration of all 4 attachment styles. Rather, an exaggeration of those styles. And one of the things I love so much about attachment theory is that it validates the very real learning that happens in childhood. Our relationship with the earth is personal, familial, and cultural. The ways each of us learn to protect ourselves, seek support, and try out new things is necessarily different because we have each lived very different lives. We have also each had a different relationship with the earth. It is easy in spiritual spaces to paint a picture of the earth that is sweet, loving, and a generous resource like a nurturing parent. It is easy in environmental spaces to imagine the earth as a helpless victim or as being mad at us for our human folly. I'm not here to tell you that any of these images is true or false. The earth is a complex being, and I do not have the answer. I do want to lift up the value of all our different skills, whether we are more like the tortoise or the hare, and I want to invite each of you to engage in a personal relationship with the earth that is informed by your own life experiences. That self-awareness can help you to find the projects and people that support you being your most engaged self. Find the people with whom you want to both work and play. This is not actually a race. This is a collaborative commitment to our collective future. In order to create and restore vibrant ecosystems and climate justice, we need to take the time to notice our relationship with the earth. Take time to notice when you are a hare or a tortoise. I honor the gifts and limitations of who we each are today, because this is where we start imagining tomorrow. And when all the real and sometimes scary news feels like too much, you can try the simple act of laying down outside on the ground or putting your bare feet in the dirt for a few minutes as a reminder that the earth is always right here. Let's pass a moment together in silence.
I invite you to rise in body and or spirit, and let's sing together hymn number 1064, Blue Boat Home. If you're online, you can find the lyrics posted in the chat.
Sun, my sail, and moon, my rudder, as I ply my starry sea, leaning over the edge in wonder, casting questions into the deep, drifting here with my ship's companions, all we kindred pilgrim souls, making our way by the light of the heaven in our beautiful blue I give thanks to the waves upholding me, hail the great wind urging me on, breathe the infinite seas before me, sing my sky, my sailor song. I was born upon the fathoms, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat.
You may be seated. So just a reminder that folks joining us virtually you may want to stay after for conversations in breakout rooms, and for anyone here or virtually, you can stay present for the board meeting at 11, or board conversation at 11:30, which will be hybrid. Sorry, stumbling over these words. And moving into closing, as we extinguish our chalice, let us keep warm the spark of connection that was forged here today. May we all go into the world a little more grounded, and may we strike a balance between focused work and diligent play. May we move in peace.
invite you once again to rise and let's sing together our Unison Benediction.